But I don't know. It's a strange, different world we live in now. Oh, dude, you remember? I do love thrift stores. I fucking love thrift stores, and it
You worked
probably
at
all
one?
started when I worked at one. Okay, you want to hear some stories about? All right, do they have Goodwill out on the East Coast?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll tell you some Goodwill stories. Here we go. Here's story time. All right, so I used to work at Goodwill when I was younger, okay? This shit you not, another real story here. Worked there for a couple years. I had a boss named Sam and a coworker named Jonathan, all right? Jonathan, one day I saw Jonathan, this lady walked up to the register with a cart full of clothes or something. He started looking at him. He took one out, started looking at her, looked at the clothes, and, it said like 20 bucks, right? And the lady was like, what? And he's like, yeah, just $20 for all of it. How's that sound? She's like, okay, and gives him $20 bills. He puts it all in bags, and she walks out. He puts the dollar bill in his pocket, and I'm like, Jonathan, what's going on? Is that a thing? He's like, yeah, you can do it if you want to. I'm like, what? I'm like fucking 18 at the time, all right? And so the manager Sam, I asked Sam, Sam comes up and goes, yeah, you can do that if you want, out of nowhere, and I'm like, what? He's like, but just give me like $10, $10 a day or whatever. I'm like, what? Like, this is one of my first jobs. I'm like, okay, so it's okay to steal and stuff? And he's like, no, just, get a little for yourself or something like that. So no shit, like I started working there and I would do the same thing. People would walk up to the fucking register and I would sit there and look at their items. Like I remember one guy walked up with a bunch of clothes and I would look at him and be like, like I said like $10, right? And he's like, I only have a 20. I literally pulled money out of my pocket and gave him change out of the money in my pocket. And he looked at me kind of weird and I'm like, what do you, it's like, it's a real thing. And he's like, whatever. And then I had to go give my boss some at the end of the day, Sam. He was a Hawaiian dude. But one time, they had this nice, I don't know who donated this. Someone donated a nice speaker set, right? And they had it out on the floor, like Goodwill does for their nice things or whatever. And it was like $500, right? It was a whole, like, some kind of fancy speaker set. And some guy was interested in buying it. And he said, Sam, the manager said, you know what? I'll give you, if you get $400 in cash, you can take it right now. And the dude, no shit, gave him $400 in cash, and he put the whole 400 in his pocket and walked away and like smiled at me. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then after work every day, he'd come up to me and he'd be like, if you need something from the back, you can have your girlfriend come over. You can just pick out some clothes or something. You can just take them home. And no shit, that was my Goodwill experience. I would take
And on
all the
top of
money
all
I
that,
made every day. Yeah, I would take all the money I made, and not only that. This was back in the day when you had to punch your card, right? You put your card in the thing and you push the button and it would stamp your time to clock in and out. He would tell me, my boss Sam would tell me, he'd be like, "You can go home. I'll put a few extra hours on there for you today." I'm like, "Okay, thanks, man." He'd fucking punch my. Wait, did someone just give me a helm for no reason? Anyways, he would fucking do that for me and give me free hours all the fucking time. Like, this is no shit. This is like one of my first jobs, and I was so like, looking back on it now, it could never fly today. But holy fuck.
he would also spend all day at the register on the phone just
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, I would sit at the register on the phone, like the store phone. I would just pick up the
I
store
was
phone and
talking to him
like
like, "Are
call
you working?"
people.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm working. I'm bringing someone up right now." I'm like, "But you've been talking to me for like half an hour on the phone. What the hell?"
Yeah, he let me do whatever I want as long as I gave him money every day.
I'll be right back. I gotta change the diaper.
Hey, no problem. I don't know what you guys think about that in chat, but yeah, that's real. Goodwill is our store. Goodwill because we're poor. Catchy motto. Hey, Warren, how's it going? Oh, no, dude. Oh yeah, dude, it gets crazier than that, dude. I mean, maybe not crazier, but like, they still made so much money, even with me and Jonathan and the manager doing that. They still made so much money. I worked there for 2 years doing that, and no joke. After I used to come home and stuff the money in a drawer, and after like a year, I was like, I couldn't fit any more money in my drawer, and I'm like, all right, it's time to count this. And I took it out, and it was like almost $6,000, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. And my girlfriend's like, just whatever. Just let's go spend it then. So we bought like computers and shit. But it was a wild time, man. Like I don't know how I got introduced to that. It was totally by accident too, and all of a
Here I
sudden I'm
am.
like part of this embezzling scheme that I didn't even know because I'm too young. I was naive, man. I didn't know it was that bad. No, wait,
Here I
yeah.
am. My first job. My boss was like a hard ass.
I don't think this is the same shower girlfriend. This was not Natasha. This wasn't Natasha. This was the one. This is the one Danny knows in chat or in Discord. He knew her. This one. Her name was Denny. That was the first girl. That was her. I worked at the wrong stores. Oh, I know, man. It was crazy. And not only that, like anything collectible that came in, like guns or diamonds. Oh, here I got another story for you. I got another story. This diamond. So you know how need to have key, Faz? Yeah, I'll do another key. Whisper me whatever. But let me do a story here. All right. So another thing that happened here. Not a lot of people there. Yeah, it is right. Not a lot of people there actually spoke English, right? And a lot of them were kind of slow, because they did that program where they, have people who come in with mental illnesses, whatever, and that's fine, right? And they would work in the back and sort things and whatnot. And sometimes they would find money in books, right? Um, like the book guy, he was a little slow, right? You knew he was a little slow. He would find money in books, and one day, he used to tell me about it. And one day I saw him walking up to the office with a book because I could see it from my cash register. Saw him walking to the office with this book, and I could see it looked like money he was holding coming out of the book. And so I'm like, oh shit! And so I ran. I tried making it to him real quick. I tried to explain to him like, hey, I'm the cashier. You bring it to me. So, but Sam was in the office, so he knocked on the door. Sam opens. He walks in. I see him talking. He hands Sam the money. My manager Sam, grabs the money. And he walks out, and there was a glass door in the office. He looked at me and kind of smiled and held up cash and just put it in his pocket and sat at his desk. And I'm like, God fucking damn it. So I walked over to the back and I'm like, hey. So if there's ever money in the books, remember, bring it to the cashier. Remember, I'm the cashier. I handle the money, man. He's like, oh yeah, okay, no problem. I'm like, yeah. And he only brought me money once, and it was like $5 after that. But anyways, it was kind of funny. Jackie, how you doing, man? Sorry, I got on a tangent about my days at Goodwill like 15 years ago.
There's one.
Dude, I didn't know what it was at the time. I didn't even know what embezzling was. I was 18, man. This is how I was told to do the job by my manager. No joke. Like, I'm living on my own. This is how I'm told to do my job. I was going to tell you yesterday, Jackie. You told me you got the desk. I was going to ask you how it was, and you stepped out. All right, anyways, let's get into another key so I can keep talking. What do we got? Does anyone have a key? What do we got? Who's got one?
I'm
Top
back.
15? You got to go, Vinny?
No.
Okay.
I have a Halls 15.
If you guys want, DZE, whisper me. I'm going to tell you one more Goodwill story. But I want to get a run started. We'll do, if you guys are all sticking around, we can do either one of those keys. Drop that Necrotic Wake to a 15. Let's do that. Wait, did you trade me a helm? Who traded me this helm? Someone traded me something. I didn't even realize what was going on.
I think it's the Shaman.
God damn it.
Traded you a male helm.
Hey, thanks for the sub, man. I really do appreciate it. Easy. Appreciate it, man. I really do. All right, I got another story. Let me do another one. All right, so the people in the back who sorted the clothes, they didn't speak English very well. They were Hispanic, whatever. And one day, I was walking by and they were looking at something and trying to figure out what it was. And they pulled me over and they're like, "Hey, what is this good? What is this?" And they were sorting through jeans and they pulled out a ring out of these jeans, right? It was in the pocket, where people were supposed to put their change. Yeah, we're gonna go do Necrotic Wake. Anyways, it was in the pocket where you put the change, right? And they pulled it out. And it looked like a really fancy ring. Like, I didn't know much about jewelry, right? But it was a really nice looking ring, and it looked like diamonds. So I'm like, that's nice. Just take it home, give it to your daughter or something, right? Because I was nice too. I always tried to help people out. Seems name is wrong. Oh, yeah. That's why. Here, I'll do it. I spelled Kill Jaden wrong. That's why. There you go. All right, so anyways, Viddy, you might need to go heals.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Um, anyway, so I told her to take this ring home, give it to her daughter. Anyways, about 2 days later, the police are coming in here looking for this ring, right? And they're like, "This ring went missing. She didn't mean to donate it. Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Oh fuck! I think that's the ring." It was in a pair of jeans, and I'm like, "Okay, that has to be the fucking ring." And I'm sitting there in my head, and he's just talking. I'm like letting him explain the ring, and he's like, and it looked, he explained it perfectly. I'm like, "Fuck!" I told her she could take it home, and then I'm like, I don't know. Let me ask someone in the back real quick." And they're like, "No, we'll get to them." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's fine." And so I'm trying to like motion to her because she's looking at me talking to this police. I'm trying to motion her to come up to the front so I can talk to her. Um, and I told the police, "No, I don't know anything about it." Well, apparently the ring was worth $7,000, and she came up, and I'm like, "I didn't say anything. You don't have the ring. I don't know what he's talking about." And she's like, "Okay." So they all just basically said that to the cop. No one knows what they're talking about. Blah blah blah. And I guess she sold the ring eventually and made a pretty penny off it. And but but it was quite the ordeal because those cops were like lurking around that place all day, like for hours, looking for this ring and talking to everybody about this fucking ring. Out of all the shit that happened, that's oh dude, oh my god, how do I have so many stories at this place? All right, here's another one. One day I was sitting at the register. It was so slow in there. It was like 10 in the morning. I look across the parking lot. Did I get a whisper yet? There you are. All right, sorry about that, man. I'm just going off here. Yeah, you're gonna have to go heels, Viddy.
Yeah, I'm switching.
Anyways, I look across the parking lot. No shit, these dudes come. There's a check cashing place in the same parking lot. I see two dudes running out of that place in ski masks, and I could see they had handguns, right? And they get in a fucking car and speed away. And I'm like, did I just witness a fucking robbery? Like, I just randomly looked out and saw this, right? And obviously, shit. And 15 minutes later, here's cops asking if I saw anything. I'm like, yeah, two guys just came out of there with ski masks and jumped into this red car. And then they're like, "What color was the car?" I was like, "I'm pretty sure it was red." "What color was the car?" Like, they asked me like fucking 4 times, and I'm like, "Wow, I can't believe I just witnessed a fucking robbery. That was kind of cool."
Trying to remember, or trying to make sure I remember everything.
Oh yeah, they got the ring. No, these were two different times though, but yeah, that would have been hilarious. So those guys who got in the car, I totally saw one with a ring. Man, yeah, I used to. I don't know. It was fun, man. No, and someone donated like. Dude, people are weird, man. Some people, I don't know if they accidentally donate things. Some people will donate really expensive things like at Goodwill. You have no idea unless you work there, because a lot of this stuff nowadays they take it and sell it online or at auctions. But some people would donate back then would donate really expensive things, and this is before eBay and stuff. So they would sell it in this, try to sell it in the store. But I don't understand what happens. Like, people would donate guns and like nice shotguns and just weird things all the time. Oh, let's get a summoning stone in here. Now, you guys made me talk about Goodwill. Now I'm like on it. Yeah, nice furniture. Like, all sorts of nice things, man.
I'm coming in.
Oh, you're in?
Yeah, I
Hey,
just had
Richard.
to make sure I got everything. Swap my
Okay.
legendary, swap my spec, swap covenant, swap soulbind.
I was going to say, your soul binds, you got everything good?